Good morning, everyone. Today we're talking bushcraft gear. There's so many conversations out there about what do you take to the woods, what goes in your pack, what gear is necessary, what's a redundancy, what's kind of a creature comfort. And anyway, it's just always curious. What are you carrying in your pack and how much does it weigh? So today I'm going to show you my Marting Top 65 liter. It's actually a 65 plus because it can expand a little bit, but it's a Marting Top 65 liter backpack that I carry on my bushcraft trips. I'm going to show you everything that I'm using here in Florida, primarily Central Florida. Temperatures could get down in the 40s. Mostly they're in the mid 50s, and at least this time of year as far as the lows. And we're going to show you what we'll take on a 3-day trip, 2 nights, 3 days into the bush. Part of the reason I'm showing my pack and the items in there is I want to learn from others. First of all, I want to teach people and show them what I'm taking into the woods. I'm going to go over item by item and explain a little bit why I have those items with me and how they're important to me and how they feel comfortable. But I know a lot of the people who are going to watch this video are people that are into bushcraft, far more experienced than I am, and I want to hear their comments. I want to hear their feedback. What would you take out? What would you put in? What would you change? Specifically when it comes to weighing down the pack, I'd like to learn a little bit more about how you do things differently. So here's kind of a spread of my gear. I've got everything out on this army wool blanket, and then I have my pack over there. And I have my sleeping bag over there. Let me just quickly mention my sleeping bag first. The reason it's not balled up in a nice compression sack is because the way I carry my pack, this sleeping bag actually goes in the bottom of my pack. I have a dedicated zipper section for it, a dedicated pouch on my backpack, and it just pushes all in there. And so for this, I'm carrying the Hike and Bike Crestone. This is the center zip mummy bag. I'm a hammock camper predominantly, and so this goes really nice in my hammock as a mummy bag, but it zips up right down the center. Okay, so many of these things are obvious what they are, but I'll just talk through them. Sleeping mat. Again, I'm a hammock camper. You'll see my hammock over there in just a few seconds. And I have a dedicated pouch under my hammock. It's a double layer hammock that this slides right in, and it gives me an extra layer of insulation. Speaking of all my gear, the one piece that's not here, and it's because I'm still in the market for it and I'm trying to figure out which one to get, is a underquilt for my hammock. But right now, the way I run my hammock is I put this underneath, and that's my sleeping pad. I have an emergency blanket. I have 2 water bottles. One I run, when I weighed my bag, I had this clean canteen filled with water, and this stays empty. I carry this to capture water in, and this works with my Sawyer squeeze water filter that I'll talk about in a little bit. I have a first aid kit, basic items in there, moleskin, some band-aids, some rubber gloves, some tape, just, you guys know the deal on, that's a basic first aid kit. The one thing I think I want to add to my first aid kit that I don't have is a tourniquet. I have a sewing kit with some thread and a sail needle in case I need to repair gear. I have some fishing line. This is actually fishing leader, but I use it for fishing line. I can use it to sew with, and also in here I have a small sewing, also in here I have a fishing kit. This is a bike inner tube I've crafted to make a little container for it, and it just goes in one of my small bags, and it's out of sight, out of mind. Moving into my cooking, I have a coffee filter. It goes on top of my coffee cup. Pour my coffee or spoon my coffee in there, and then use my kettle or my cup to pour water in, hot water, and I'm able to make coffee. I have a little bit of dish soap. I have the Yuko spoon fork. I have a kettle for boiling water or going and retrieving water. And I have the Stanley cup. As you can see, it's been used quite a bit. I even melted the top off a little bit. Inside here, I actually carry a rag for cleaning up my dishes or other things. If I need to use the rag, the rag can be used for many things, but I predominantly focus on carrying it in my dishes, and I keep my dish soap down in there. I have some fuel for my stove. That actually goes right in here, smushes down. We seal that off. We close it off. I have a coffee cup. The coffee cup and my Stanley cup nest together. This is just one of those $5 cups from Walmart. And they go together in my bag. I actually made this bag, canvas bag. I made it to put all my stuff there. And actually when I put it together, my spoon and fork combo goes down inside there. This is my MSR stove that I run off of my fuel that I already put away. And we have a spice set. Some olive oil, in case I'm cooking in this pan, bowl, whatever you want to call it. Some spice, some salt, some pepper, and I have it in this little kit that I actually hand sewed that before I got a sewing machine. And then finally, on the cooking, I believe, is I have this metal bowl, pan, however you want to call it. I actually fry in it. I put a steak in there, I put some mushrooms and onions in there. I can use it to eat out of when I'm done, the whole deal. The catch to this, which I think I want to switch, is it doesn't have a handle. It doesn't have a lid. I don't care as much about the lid as I do the handle, but right now I'm using my multi-tool to grab it and pull it in and out of the coals. Moving along, I got my Crocs. I actually hang those on carabiners on the outside of my pack. That is one thing that I didn't factor in the weight, but Crocs are very light. I don't think they affect the weight that much. I have a 55-gallon drum trash bag. I believe that's a 3 mil. This works great for when you approach a camp. If you're looking to set up in an area and there's not a place to hang your bag, you can unfold it, you can sit on it, you can set your bag on it, you can fill it with water, you can fill it with leaves, you can burn it. There's so many uses for that. One of the items I didn't mention in my cooking, which sometimes I cut food up on and sometimes I actually eat off of it, is a little cutting board. Few things here: toilet paper, some extra Ziplocs, and some wax paper. Wax paper is another great thing to sit on, put things on to not keep it from wet. It also is it works for flammable. I got this carry bag here with some zip ties that I also put some of these items in. I carry a glow stick. I carry a whistle. This is a bottle opener. This could probably go away, but it was just tied into the whistle. I got some extra batteries. I got batteries that work one of my headlamps that I'll talk about in a second. And then I also got extra batteries for my GPS, which is here. I have a compass, some bug repellent, and now let's go into my cordage bag, my cordage kit. I carry 10 very light aluminum tent stakes, some cordage 550 cord, and some line. I actually want to trade this out with number 36 bank line. I have an inner tube system wrapped around it just to keep it from unraveling. And I carry 3 toggles. One is to set my ridge line up when I walk up to the tree, and the other 2 are used for my hammock system. to hook my hammock and tarp system to my ridgeline. I have my water filtration system. I use the Sawyer Squeeze. I mentioned the water bottle earlier that this hooks directly up to. I got a hose if I want to use that, and I put it all in this little carrying bag. The bag is marked blue for my water. I always carry an extra pair of socks. I got a pair of nose picker gloves. These are mostly when it's down in the 40s. I like to put these on, keep my hands warm at night. I made this seat. You guys have maybe seen this in where I did my recent video where I did a solo out in Ocala National Forest. I got the seat canvas. All you gotta do is put the legs on, make a tripod, and you got a chair out in the woods. I have an inflatable pillow. I'll talk about my sleep system here in a little bit, or my shelter system rather. Here's my fire kit. I got a little bit of fat wood. I like to call it magic wood. A ferro rod, a striker, matches, Bic lighter, and then this looks like beef jerky, but it's actually cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly. Because I'm old, I have my reader glasses. I carry them in a case so they don't get crashed, squashed, whatever. I got my ridge line, and I've marked this with a little piece that's just my own little way of reminding myself that that's a ridge line and not extra cordage, so I make sure I don't cut it. It's already got the prusik knots on it. It's got 4 of them on there. 2 are for my tarp system, and 2 are for my hammock system. I have a hammock with a bug net, and I need to be able to tie it up to there, so I've got that good to go. And then I mentioned the toggles. I actually use one toggle to walk up and hook my thing to the tree. And then I also carry a little bit of wire. It can be used for snaring in a survival situation. And it can also be used to tie up if I want to hang one of my metal cups above a fire, one of the cups that I don't have a handle on. The final section we're going to talk about today involves my cutting tools. We all know about the 5 C's of survival. One of them is cutting tools. So I have a boreal saw. This turns into I got a inner tube band I keep on it to keep it closed because I carry this on the outside of my pack. Many of you guys in Bushcraft, of course, have seen this, but for anybody else, that turns into a cool saw for cutting. Carry a small hatchet, a multi-tool. This is a very cheap, I think it's like $5 at Walmart. The only reason I carry this tool is to, at this point that I can think of, other than maybe being able to cut my wire, is to pull this in and out of the coals when I'm cooking with it. If I get the pan with the handle that's built into it, I think I can get rid of the multi-tool and not carry it regularly. Battery pack for charging phones. I can charge my phone with this, and I can charge this headlamp. This headlamp runs off of, it's got batteries in it, and it's also got a backup set of batteries. But I do have my 2 headlamps. And then I have my more Bushcraft knife, or I call it my Bushcraft knife, but it's really it's a more companion stainless steel. And then finally, the last 2 items, I have my DD Frontline hammock. I just got this one in. I haven't even used it yet. I was previously using the DD Frontline Hammock XL. I thought it was too big, took up too much space in my pack, too heavy, so I went down to this one, which is plenty fine. It's a normal size hammock. It's already fairly large, but the reason it's big in this pack is it also includes a bug net, built-in bug net. And then I'm using the DD tarp I have the 3.5 by 3.5. I really love the extra space this gives me. I really have some nice space to sit in front of my hammock, even in the rain. I can use my stove, I can cook meals, I can carve, I can work on things, I can light a small fire, and this 3.5 by 3.5 really gives me a lot of space. I think it comes out to like 11.5 by 11.5 in terms of feet. All right, so there you have it. That's the gear I carry. 32 pounds worth in my bag. Everything's there, everything I need to go on a 3-day trip. It also gives me a little sense of survival. I keep that bag packed at home. I wouldn't necessarily call it my getaway bag, but I do like that mentality of knowing if I need to grab that, throw some extra clothes in it, and boogie down. I've got my 10 C's of survival, certainly got my 5 C's of survival. I can go out in the sticks, in the woods, in an urban environment, and survive just fine once I add a little bit of food and maybe a couple extra garments of clothing. Depending on the weather will dictate what clothing I add in there. Obviously, if it's colder, I add more cold stuff, but I typically always throw like a hoodie, something like that in there, and definitely probably 2 t-shirts, usually 1 long sleeve and 1 short sleeve. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to see how you do some things different, some things you think, man, Rich, I just don't think you need that in there. Or maybe there's some things that you're thinking, Rich, I really think you should consider carrying this. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Please don't forget, give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe. I appreciate your support.